This is a story from my upcoming book, Whales, Coyotes, and Other Lovers. It's called The Snake Story. One of the conditions of living at Madre Grande was an agreement that residents could build a structure somewhere on the land. Most of the dwellings dispersed around the 300 plus acres were canvas domes, yards and yards and yards of canvas sewn together by the residents and draped over a metal dome-shaped frame and fastened to a wooden platform. Mila, an enterprising woman handy with a hammer and saw, built a 2-story shed-roof dwelling up on the hillside above the Central Valley. Alongside his teepee, Lauren, a weekend resident, worked continuously on a circular rock house. The place I chose for my building site, though I never got around to constructing anything, was a flat area elevated some distance from the ranch house, along a dusty trail. The backside of the site dropped nearly 2 stories, formed by a smooth-surfaced flat boulder, thrust up through the desert soil like giant's teeth, scattered along the terrain. On 2 sides of the site, the boulder extended upwards nearly 10 feet, naturally forming a cavernous wall that I envisioned as the framework for an exquisite living space. I spent the few leisure hours of my life clearing out the underbrush and pruning the manzanita and ceanothus into a naturalistic garden. It was like playing house as a child and gave me a welcome respite from being the mom of 3 children and the administrative responsibilities I undertook for land management. On a hot summer afternoon, I often escaped there for solitude and peace. As the day wore on, I suddenly realized I was running behind. I needed to get dinner ready for my children. So I tossed aside the brush I'd cleared, grabbed my bag, and hot-footed it down the trail toward the valley floor. Having lived most of my life in Texas and Southern California, where the creatures and flora often have protective instincts and defensive mechanisms, I give respect where it is due and pay attention to where I put my hands and feet. About a third of the way back to the house, I glanced up ahead along the trail and saw a medium-sized rattlesnake slinking its way across the pathway. Instantly halted, I squatted down to give the critter the right of way and wait until the coast was cleared. Medium-sized rattlesnake in Southern California is 3 to 4 feet in length and somewhere around 6 to 8 inches in diameter. So a healthy respect is always a good idea. Squatting there in the later afternoon haze, powdery dust settled on my bare feet and on the low-growing chaparral alongside. As I gazed at the snake undulating across the path about 30 feet in front of me, there seemed to be a shift in the time-space of my awareness. I seemed to be more and more fascinated by the patterns and the movement of the snake. It was hypnotic. What appeared to me was that the snake stopped its progress. Its head and a third of its body turned toward me. We were, it seemed, eyeball to eyeball. Locked in this communion of being, I felt the snake project forward, penetrating my forehead and infusing its snaky energy throughout the cells of my body. Time froze. As if I had blinked and flipped a switch, normal time and space awoke. I cast my eyes 30 feet ahead and the snake continued its sinuous trajectory, crossing the path and disappearing into the dusty gray chaparral. I picked myself up, dusted off my skirt, and continued along the path, mentally reviewing what was in the refrigerator for my kids' supper.